you all for flying in to Atlanta today. I really appreciate you taking the time. I spoke with your leaders a little early on, and what they explained to me is that morale has dropped in your organization. Would you all agree? Yeah. Okay. So we had the downsize. I heard that it was in August of this year. And so prior to that, what was the morale like in your organization? Somebody tell me. What was it like?
Really upbeat.
It was upbeat, okay. Your Atlanta team, it was upbeat. Okay, what about the Boston team here?
Not so great. We kind of saw things coming.
So you saw the handwriting on the wall.
People were kind of nervous.
Okay, okay.
But hopeful.
Hopeful, okay, that you weren't going to have to go through the downsize. What about in California here?
We were very enthusiastic. We've been gung-ho all the way until August.
Until August. Okay, okay. What about Arizona?
I think we were in a very competitive mindset, so when it happened, it was a hit and it was a big surprise.
So it was a big shock. Okay. Well, my goal here is to walk you all through a process so we can come up with a solution. When you all agree that we need to have a solution here where we're going to be able to take back to our particular organizations and implement a solution to change the morale, because when morale is down, productivity is down, and then we risk losing those employees when the market changes. Would you all agree? Okay. So the whole purpose is for us to come up with a solution. Oh, hold on a second. I've lost some pages here. Sorry about that. I have taken the liberty to come up with an agenda, and I want to make sure that we can all agree on what this agenda would be. First of all, I think it's important that we understand how our employees feel. Second, I think we need to maybe move through a process of acknowledging how our employees feel, because some of you are probably nodding your heads and saying, I kind of know how they feel, but you know, maybe we need to acknowledge that with the employees. Third, I'd like to determine how to change, and again, this is going to help us make that transition over to changing the morale. And then in the fourth step, I would like to implement the changes and come back with the solution that we can all agree from East Coast to West Coast here. Do you all agree? Okay, sounds like a good plan? All right, well, let's jump right on into it. I'm sorry. Here's some of my stuff is falling down, but that's okay. Yeah, well, that's okay. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you jumping up to help me. So the first thing here is that we really need to understand how our employees feel. So what I'd like for each group to do is to write down, you guys got sticky pads right on your tables? Okay, I want you to start thinking about right now, how did your employees feel prior to the downsize? Let's write down some words of how they were feeling. And now that it's 6 weeks later, how are they feeling? So just take a minute.
Just a question on that. Is it sort of before we saw the downsize coming, how we were for the last 5 years, or when everybody started knowing something?
I would say let's take it back maybe like 2 years ago. What was the morale like in your organization? And let's write down that information, discuss it within your groups, and then I'm going to come back with a follow-up question to say, okay, now after we've had the downsize since August, what do you see as the changes? How are the employees feeling within your group? So take 1 minute and write that information down for me. Yes, both questions. Both questions. So question number 1 is, how did they feel 2 years ago? What was the morale like? I lost my question. Okay. Does everybody have at least one question? Or one statement of how their employees felt?
You went before right now.
Mm-hmm. I want the before. Now I want you to take a moment and write the after. Okay. All right. I need the group to come back together. I'm going to start over here with the Atlanta team, and I would like for you to answer the first question for me. You know, 2 years ago, What was the morale like in your organization 2 years ago?
Okay, do you want these stickies or just?
No, I just want you to tell me.
Oh, okay. We had a sense of belonging.
Okay.
Part of the family.
Okay.
We were optimistic.
Okay.
We were creative.
You were what?
Creative.
Creative. Okay.
Motivated.
Okay.
And happy.
All right. Next team.
Flying high.
Oh.
We were optimistic. And we loved the team we were on.
You loved your team. Next group.
Well, we were excited,
Mm-hmm.
enthusiastic,
Okay, don't have that. Okay. I'm going to abbreviate here.
and I think we were overconfident.
Ah, overconfident. Okay. Fourth team. How were we 2 years ago, morale-wise?
Right. We were feeling competitive in the market.
Uh-huh. And what else?
And high team spirit.
So, as leaders, how were you feeling some of these as well? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so now, after August, how are we feeling? Sad? Okay. Aha. I'm going to grab a new sheet here. So sad and betrayed? Okay. What else? Ah. Suspicious. Uh-huh.
And underappreciated. The next day is right, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
And
It's going to happen again.
and underappreciated. Hold on one second. Bamboozled? Okay. Okay. Confused? Oh, depressed. Okay. Now, were those emotions your emotions, or were those the emotions of your employees? Both. Combination of both, right? Okay. So my purpose here is that I really wanted you to kind of dig in and to see how you even felt yourself, to say, if I understand how I feel, I can understand how my employees are feeling, right? Because this is a combination of a thing, because you're an employee of the company as well. So not only understanding, but sometimes we forget to acknowledge how people feel, because then we go back and then, typical line is business as usual. But can it really be business as usual? What do you think over here, Gail?
Things have changed completely now.
Things have changed. Okay. So what can we do as leaders of the organization to acknowledge how these employees feel? What can we do?
I think we can have some focus, some team meetings, and let them know that they can share those with us without any kind of repercussions.
Okay. Okay.
And then the other side of that, I would say that it might be helpful to talk to people individually
Okay.
and reflect back what we're feeling from them.
Okay. So talk to people individually?
Yeah, stop avoiding it like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. Because as she said, it's really not business as usual, is it? It's changed, right? Will we agree with that?
We as managers could be brave enough to show our feelings.
Ah.
Be a little transparent. Show our vulnerability.
And I'm sorry, I didn't capture what you said.
Stop avoiding it.
Stop avoiding. Stop.
As if it didn't happen.
Okay. Right. So do we all agree then, if we acknowledge how the employees feel, that then we can then move faster through this process to be able to assist and come up with a solution? Okay. Okay, great. And we're going to continue moving through our agenda since we've acknowledged, so we understand how the employees feel because we are feeling it. We're acknowledging how the employees feel. So let's determine, for those of you, we've only been here for 5 years with this company, so you've worked in other companies, correct? Right. So what best practices have you used in the past to help change morale in your organization? I'd like for you to take one moment, I'm sorry, not one moment, 1 minute, discuss it with your group, and what best practices have you used in the past to change morale? Okay? Discuss it again amongst your group. How long did it take you?
Like off campus in that same building.
Okay, for time's sake, did everyone come up with at least one group? Did you guys come up with at least one, California? Okay, did you come up with one? Okay, did you come up with one, at least one? Okay, all right. For simplicity and time's sake, we're going to just go and just chart one from each group. How's that? Is everybody okay with that? Okay, and I know you have a lot more to tell me, but we'll capture that at a little later time. Okay, group one, what did you have?
We felt that the leaders should have a picture or a vision of where we're going.
Okay, so a vision of where to go? Oh, where we're going, where we... Where we're going. All right, yeah. Don't tell me where to go. Okay, next.
Rewards and recognition.
Rewards, right. And would you all agree that those rewards don't necessarily have to be very expensive? Mm-hmm. Yes, a nice thank you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Engage them in solution consciousness.
Engage. Ah. No, spelling doesn't count on the whiteboard, okay? Black team.
So it's going to, we have potluck lunches.
Ah.
Can I give you another one?
Sure.
Okay, so highlight small successes.
Ah. So, for consensus, do we think that we can all do this within our organizations from East to West Coast? Or are these things that you think you can adopt with your team? What about with you? Okay. Okay. With the potluck? Going out to lunch. So we can have a potluck or have a caterer. Okay. Well, how about if we put /caterer? Is that okay? Okay. Now for the black team, is that okay with you? Oh, okay. Okay. So how long, for just simplicity of time, to implement, some of these morale changes, how long is it really going to take to have a potluck? What do you think? Or call a caterer to do something to build morale? It's a lunch hour, isn't it? So we could do that in what time frame?
Next week.
Maybe in a week? Okay. Because the next thing I want to talk about is implementing these changes. I mean, it's October 8th. And so maybe next week we could do a potluck? Okay. Okay.
My whole department's out on a conference next week. Is it all right if we agree that it's between a week and a month?
Sure. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. Okay. So somewhere between October and November. Well, maybe you could throw in maybe a little Thanksgiving. What do you think? Another way to say thank you. Okay. What else from your team? What else could we do to put it on our timeline?
I think we can get into the rewards and recognition
Right away.
because you can recognize every day starting today.
Okay.
Recognize, and then we can look for what would the team rewards be, and as you're pointing out, they can be pretty cost efficient, something that we can pick up easily.
I want to push back on that a little bit though, because I'd like for us to be consistent in how, the types of things we reward people for.
Okay.
We don't